Hey, good evening. This is the veteran from Trinity again, and today I wanted to talk about retiring. As you know, I started working when I was 15 years old. I was living in New York City at the time, and I started working at the local A&P. They're no longer in existence anymore, but they were local supermarkets all over the East Coast. And I started working there stocking stuff. So I started working at 15. I've worked basically all my life. And from there, even when I went to college the first time, I we didn't have much money, so I had to do a grant aid where went to school and worked. And after about 6 months, I wasn't doing that well at the school, so they were talking about putting me in academic probation. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. Instead, because my parents didn't really have money, and I thought, well, the military was offering that time. If you do 3 years in the military, you'll get money to go to school. So I decided to join the military. And the first thing when I got to, I enlisted at Fort Hamilton, New York. And one of the first things they did was test you. And while I was there, they call us to put us in formation. And they wanted volunteers to go to the prep school. And I kept my hands down because my idea was not to spend any time in the military, just go in, get my money, and get out. And so from there, we went to Fort Dix, New Jersey. At Fort Dix, we did basic training. And after basic training, they shipped us out to Fort Lee, Virginia. And I went to school there for 76 Papa. Then the next thing I do was make a 76 uniform. And then for a few years, I was a 76 Delta. And it was really weird, which is all that was parts. So when it was so I always enjoyed working, keeping busy. And the reason I took this topic is people keep on asking me, Prince, why come you don't retire earlier? I didn't want to. When I retired, my first retirement was from the military. I was 41 years old. And I retired, and for 3 months, I did basically nothing. And it drove me crazy. I stayed out there and gained weight, and it wasn't anything. I had kids who were still in school. I said, I can't do that. So it said I was looking for a job. And here in El Paso, first of all, the jobs don't pay much at that time. And I looked around, and I couldn't get no job. And then my brother, who had recently retired, was in New Mexico, and he had the same problem of finding a job. So he came down to me and said, Ken, let's start subbing in the school districts. I said, that sounds like a good idea. It wasn't making much. It was about $52 a day. But staying home and making no money didn't make any sense. So we both decided. He went with El Paso Independent School District, and I went with Isleta. And we both had some success with the schools. You know, they were calling us regularly. And I enjoyed what I was doing. You know, and while I was thinking, we found out about the Truth to Teachers program, where the VA or would pay for us to go to school, and then the school district could find us a job if we qualify. So I went, and went to school, and after the school district picked us up after we took so many classes, and they put us in a classroom as teachers. And in the evenings, I would go to school. So after a while, I became a teacher, and I taught special ed for about 9.5 years as a teacher in the classroom. So many things went on in the classroom, it was unbelievable. Some days I have to tell you guys some of the stories that happened in the classroom, because teaching special ed, we ran into a lot of different things, as far as some of the cruel things that adults have done to young kids. I'll always tell you a story of one of my students, who was female. She came home from school when she was about 7 years old, and she found her father hanging in the living room. Oh, these kids was something else, So one of these is to tell you about some of the stories that happened, and then and after about 9.5 years, my buddy named Francis as General, he said to me, "Prince, you know something? You're pretty good at what you do. You said you're better than some of these administrators around here. Why don't we go and get certified as an administrator? Go back to school and get certified as an administrator." I said, "Nah." I said, I am basically happy. I said, "Look here, I'm retired military. Here was on W-2, and I was happy with the teacher's salary. It wasn't that much, but I was happy with it." And he went, and they kept on saying, "Prince, come on." And then I finally decided to become an administrator. And I went to, here in El Paso, we went to UTEP, and, UTEP for my teaching. And then after I went back, before I messed up a little, because what happened, I forgot to tell you. In the meanwhile, after I'd gotten certified, I had also continued school. I went to Webster University to get my master's. And once I had my master's, I decided to go for the administration certification, which was, I love what I was doing, and I had a real rapport with the kids. People thought I was a teacher for when I was teaching. They thought I was teaching for a long time. I said, no, I hadn't been teaching that long. I was, what do you call it, alternate certification program. So I went to a website and I obtained it, and then I went back to UTEP to get certified as an administrator. And after that, after 2 or 3 times, I was picked up as an assistant principal at Bassett Middle School. And I worked there for about 6 years or so as an assistant principal at Bassett. Then I had this supervisor. He didn't stay in the district long. He came for about 2 years, and then he took off. But he moved on all the administrators and stuff like that. So I went to another school on the west side, and after about 2.5 years, my mother was getting sick, and I said, you know what? I don't need to do this. And I decided to retire, you know, because I went down to help my mother. Me and my brother took turns helping our mother. She had cancer, ovarian cancer. So we were out there helping her and stuff like that. We would spend a couple of weeks, take turns and stuff like that. And after she passed us, I took some months off, and then I started subbing in the school districts. I said, because I couldn't do, I felt, what was just said, I wasn't ready to retire. I think, I still had life left in me, because my policy is I wasn't going to retire. But because my mother was sick, I did. And I went back and I started subbing and stuff like that, because I wasn't finished. I think I had enough energy and stuff left to combat working with kids. And a lot of kids were looking up to me and teachers. So I felt obligated to continue serving. People say, Principal, why don't you just retire? Retire, do what? People hang around and do what? As a school assistant principal, I had enough time as far as I was concerned. We had the summers, we had winter breaks, spring break. I had no idea, no inclination to retire. I was happy with what I was doing. A lot of people retire and do what? Right now, people are living longer, and there's more years out there. You want to be able to do different things. While I was working, I was always taking my vacations, going everywhere I can. I went to the West Indies a couple of times, So I didn't feel I was doing anything. I was keeping my mind, So people, don't let anybody tell you, well, you should retire. Some people are retiring too early. People are retiring in their 50s. After about 20 years of taking vacation and stuff like that, they're 70 and they have nothing. They've done everything. And people live too much longer. Right now I'm 73 and I had a stroke which slowed me down a little, but I tend to get up in the next 2 months or so and try and do something, Don't let people make you tell you retire while you're still working doing this. People are living a lot longer. You have people now in the late 70s and the 80s that have run out of money. I'm not going to run out of money because in the years I spent in the military, I'm getting a pension from the military. I also work for the school district. I'm getting a pension from a school district. And plus I'm getting a disability from the military. So basically, those incomes are going to be around for a long time. Like I said, every couple of months I do something. I've just been slow down because of the stroke. But people don't realize something. They got to be very careful. Retire and do nothing. I see a lot of people retired and do, I retired first time at 41. And I wasn't happy because I still had responsibilities and stuff. I've seen people, especially in the military, retired 41, 43, 44 at a young age, and all they do the rest of their life until they pass at an early age we go to the bars and drink. I'm not a drinker. I love life. I love being around people. Around I love that being around my grandkids. You know, don't let people force you to retire. I've seen a lot of seniors retired from their jobs, and what they end up doing, being greeters at Walmart, doing it for them because they want to get out. They say, well, find a hobby. You can only do so much of your hobby all the time. If you have a strong mind, you can help. Keep on serving until for a long time, because I plan to live a long time. I'm trying my best. I don't know what, but life, anything can happen. So I tell people is, don't let people get you to retire because of age. You retire because you want to, and your body can't take it anymore. But remember, you got to have good financial backing when you retire. You don't want to run out of money. Now, I was fortunate enough that I said, even with my military money, I said, I'm still need at least an extra $300 a month, just in case. This was years ago, back in about 1980. And I just put a smaller amount into First Command. And it's taking care of me, because right now, every year, I would make a withdrawal, which is enough to take me and my wife to Southeast Asia every year, because prior planning, we enjoy ourselves. We go on vacation, we're not rich, but we planned it. I knew I was getting a pension, and then with my kids growing up, most of the money was being spent on raising my kids, but I didn't worry about that, because I had everything set up that if something happens to me, my wife will continue getting the money from the government so she can survive. So I took care of me and my wife, okay, and my kids. Like, if anything happens to me, the house is paid off. It's a modest house, and I may have a few $1,000s left than they can have. So, and I work. I enjoy working. And as long as my body can do something, I want to be able to help people, and help especially young people, because I've had kids in my own family get in trouble, serious trouble, and I always try to talk to kids and and try to help them get a second chance in whatever they do, so the whole thing is retire. So guys, a lot of retirees, you are valuable. Help, volunteer, do something. A lot of guys retire, letting a little injury or put you on the limelight, because it could be depressing. It could be very depressing if you stay home all the time. I've been basically homebound for the last 2.5 years, and it's driving me up the wall. But like last year, I had to break. My body was still halfway broken, but I still picked up and went overseas. I'm gonna try to do everything until I stop breathing. But don't retire just because everybody say, "Oh, you ought to retire." To retire because you can't do anything else. And remember, people are living a lot longer, so be very careful that you don't run out of money in retirement. Because the people put you in a home, they'll do different things. you know. And always remember, take care of your family. Because when you get old, and if you're a media family, they will end up turning you in the news and do something I get, So that's just advice. That's one man opinion. You don't have to believe me. You got some people gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna retire as soon as I can. Yes, but make sure you have enough money to last you until the very end. I know I'm gonna leave some money. You know, I have a pretty good retirement. But I believe that we should work, use up our body, use up our energy until we are no can be used anymore. Live life to the fullest. Like I was watching tape today. There's so many people that need our help. As a retiree, you can go help at the different orphanages, different charities, help your fellow men. Do something. I've noticed a lot of guys that retire and just do nothing. That's a slow death. You've got to do something. Help your fellow veterans. Well, again, this is a veteran from Trinity. Wishing everybody happy holidays, and may you prosper and live life to the fullest in a new year. Remember, it's a great day to be alive and a great day to be a veteran. So if you guys like some of these stories, you can help our brother out by subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps me work on this channel. And I told people, if this channel grows, it will be dedicated to helping veterans, and that's the way it is. So enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and remember, this time of the year, pick up a phone and call a veteran and let them know that you care. It doesn't cost anything, but you may save a life. So thank you and good night.